Hello, all my ghost ghouls and goblins, and welcome to A Cyclone of Fright, where I, your solo host Hill, will be talking to you about the various things that I've watched this week. And if you don't know which one you are, you're a ghoul. And this little one just had a birthday this past weekend. So this little one is now officially 14. Okay, Tinky, I'll let you down. Anyhow, so uh I have watched a few different shows. I just recently started watching The Vampire Diaries, which is very vastly different from watching True Blood. Not that it's a bad thing. There are a lot of good things about it that I've seen so far. I've uh, watched up to the second season so far, so it has been getting pretty interesting for sure. I don't really know that I care about like the whole love triangle angle because that's what's always gotten me with most of the CW shows is there's usually like some unnecessary love triangle that they could have just like avoided and made the characters just as interesting without said love triangle. But I suppose in the Vampire Diaries, at least there's a reason for why both of them are seemingly in love with Elena because they were both in love with her descendant from like 1864. So you gotta love how in movies and television shows how like somebody will be the exact doppelganger of some relative randomly that was born like hundreds of years prior. And so far, I haven't really gotten to like any type of discussion as to really why Elena is such a doppelganger to Catherine. It's just those are the facts at this particular point. So hopefully, in the near future, it will like have some reason, even if it's super stupid, as to why she's like an exact doppelganger, other than companies don't like to hire more people, which is nothing new really, because all the workplaces in the world seem to like to run off of like skeleton crews. Anyhow, so I've been watching that. I every so often I make my rounds and watch like CW shows that I didn't watch back in the day. Like I've finished watching Gossip Girl. I think it was like a year and a half ago, just to watch it because I never actually watched it. A lot of them I didn't watch whenever they were on air, or if they did, or if they were, I usually like gave up a few seasons in whenever it was like the same repetitive like love triangle angle like every single week because I was like, what the heck? Like I'd rather just like have interesting television than like, oh, will they, won't they? Who will they end up with next? Who have they cheated on? It almost felt like a soap opera, except for like extremely long and somehow usually less interesting than a soap opera. Not really sure how they managed to do that, but that's how I felt about it. But binge watching, I suppose I can just like kind of tune that out because at least I'm not watching like every week waiting for whatever craziness to happen. What else? We also watched a few random horror shows this week. I don't really remember too many. I remember two of them were ones where we were like, what is even going on with this plot, as usual. Because I'm pretty sure it was like a bait and switch where the commercial, well, the trailer for it insinuated that something was going to happen, and then that thing didn't even happen until like the end, or it was like 2 whole seconds of the uh, plot, and then it was over and done with. Oh, Achilles. Yes, Achilles is probably looking for Damon, who is out of commission today, as you can see, since it's just me going solo. But anyhow, the one show that I can remember that I watched was one that I watched by myself because, of course, my co-host didn't really find any interest in it. But so it was basically a show where it started out where a guy was walking into a diner, and then you very quickly figure out that he is the killer that is on this news report. And so it starts out to where he's just ordering coffee, seemingly going about his way, possibly stalking his next potential victim, which is a waitress that works at this restaurant that he's at. And it's one of those like 24-hour diners. And so he makes small talk with her, and he's just giving her an overall, like, this is a creepy dude vibe, although she doesn't know that he's the killer. But so she just kind of like is doing her job, trying to be nice to him, make small talk, but at the same time really wishing that she wasn't anywhere in the vicinity. And so then he goes outside to sneak a smoke, and then her coworker gets there, and she gets to go home, and she's walking outside, and he offers her a cigarette, and she's like, no, I don't smoke. And he's like, oh, I don't usually either, but obviously he probably does. But anyways, then he goes to walk towards his car, and she walks towards her car, and she gets this like creepy feeling about him. So she starts to pull out some mace, but he's like, I'm just parked right over there. So then she lets her guard down. Wrong. Spoiler move. How dare she? And so then he takes her to his vehicle, where she's then trapped because, of course, his rusted, beat up old pickup truck only has one working door, which is not her door. And so then he starts giving her this weird little line of, oh, tell me how you want me, and this, that, and the other. So then she's like, at first she's like, no, she's pleading with him, and she's like, I have a kid at home, and he really just doesn't give a care, because obviously he's killed who knows how many people. I think it said like at least two or three people were dead on this news report that it was talking about whenever he walked into the restaurant. So he's killed at least two people, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like 9 or 10 that he's killed. So then finally, when she sees that like her pleading about having a kid doesn't work, she finally like does some like, oh baby, oh yes, I want you type scenario, and then he kills her, and then it starts over. It shows him walking back into the restaurant, and so then the rest of the movie is like trying to figure out why he can't seemingly escape this restaurant scenario that he seems trapped in no matter what he does, because he goes through all sorts of scenarios in this particular restaurant. And then, of course, at the end, you find out exactly what has been going on, which there were clues, kind of, sort of, as to what may have been going on if you were paying attention, but which I kind of had a like feeling as to sort of what it was going in the direction of, but well, obviously I'm not too good at knowing everything about the movies, so I still was quite surprised by what actually was going on. Let's see, anything else? I think that's probably about it for like what I did this week, because I was just trying to relax, because recently I have been not sleeping so well, because for some reason between my bed and my pillows they seemingly don't like to work well together, so I wake up with like crinks in my neck, and for some reason, even though the human body obviously has a spine that is specifically made to be in one position that is apparently comfortable, none of the pillows or my bed apparently are working in those advantages. So that's pretty swell, especially since one of the pillows is supposed to be some like special neck cradling pillow. Well, that's a lie, because that thing hurts my neck more than anything else on the planet. What else? Oh, I see you over there, Tink, just sitting over there, now calm and cool and collected as a cucumber. Oh, Nanook and Killies are actually getting along, so that's pretty good. We filmed a little short earlier, and so if you go and watch that, you'll figure out why potentially my co-host is missing from here. It may or may not, have anything to do with, I guess, collecting of monies, potentially, as he would say, since he's absolutely convinced that I have like hired hitmen and whatnot for him, even though I don't. But anyhow, so I think I'll round this video up by saying that hopefully you're having a good Saturday, and hopefully you're watching some good shows. If you're watching anything interesting, feel free to drop your comments in the comment section and tell me which shows you like, which movies you watched recently. And so I think I'll sign off, my ghost ghouls and gobos. So you have a nice night. See you later.